all the friends on social media platforms of CGTN. Welcome to this special live streaming. Today we are at the Aquaculture Innovation Centre in Singapore. Now when you talk about Singapore, many people think about its diverse food culture. We know that the national dish in Singapore is chili crab and pepper crab. But in recent years, the crab they use in their national dish, mud crab, the supply has dropped to about by 30%. So as an island nation that is looking forward into its food security, they're trying to grow crabs domestically. So this center we're at is doing exactly that. And standing right next to me is Dr. Chee Wee. He's the director of Aquaculture Innovation Centre. Dr. Lee, tell us, am I right? This is part of the initiative, right? Singapore wants to secure its food security in the future, right?
That's right. Yeah, so for Singapore, because it's a small nation, we never in agricultural nations to begin with. So because of climate change, food shortage, water shortage, so as a result, we need to look into the long-term solution for Singapore. And in Singapore, we're able to address water security, energy security. So this is the next security the nation is looking at, how to address the food security. Yeah. So just like I mentioned, the crab. Crab is just an iconic dish, but certainly it's not meant for everyday consumption. There are other fishes that we need to produce the protein requirement for the country. Right. So we set a target. By 2030, okay, we have to supply 30% of the nutrition needs.
That includes food, egg, fish, and green leafy vegetables.
So nutrition value, which means in this case it's called protein. Yeah, so protein can be coming from eggs, may coming from fish, or coming from chickens, things like that. Yeah? So these are protein contributions. But we know that the land animal is not efficient in producing protein anymore. Yeah, because they use more water, they produce more greenhouse gases, right? And fish is better. They have a better feed conversion ratio, okay, and more friendly to the environment in that sense.
It's also a healthier choice by consumers, right?
Exactly, consumption meat. So it's very challenging for Singapore because we don't have enough land certainly. Water, we never have enough because water are imported or coming from the oceans.
That's a different big topic.
Exactly, but it's a big story. You know? So we call story. So it's a story. So now it's a food security story. So because of that, when we go into the food security to supply enough nutrition need for our people, we need to look very differently because everything got to be very, very super intensive. So the technology we have here later on you see is built based on very intensive way of doing things that we use less water, use less space, use less labor, okay, less damage to the environment, okay, and more productive. Wow. So that is the whole concept of the agri or aquaculture development for Singapore.
Yeah, can you show us the facility?
Yes, let's start with this. This is the shell of the crab.
The crab.
But the real one is up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so we have crabs have been
so we have
culturing
crabs in different
That's
boxes.
right, they are different sizes. So this is R&D facility. So you see the husbandry is not really ideal because we are doing R&D. The whole purpose is how to hatch them and so that they can produce viable babies, so that we can repopulate the wild. Because right now a lot of crabs just catching from the wild and there's a depletion of the population in the wild. So as a result, the crabs that they serve in the restaurant is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Very, very small. And because of that, we worry the species may face extinction. And this is something that everybody loves to eat. So we do this breeding program. Okay, breeding program, of course, can be commercially viable, but more importantly, is sustainable for the environment that we can produce seeds, okay, repopulate the ocean back again. So this is just one of the many species we are working on.
Okay. Yeah. Is that the species that you use for, the chili crab?
Yes, this is one of the species. For chili crab. Yeah.
But traditionally, we import those crabs from Sri Lanka, right? They're famous for their crabs, but because of climate change, the supply has dropped.
Singapore, because we don't have crabs, we don't grow crabs. So all our animals are imported from Sri Lanka, from Vietnam, India, Papua New Guinea, Malaysia, Indonesia. So it's all imported. But the trend we see right now is the availability of the crab in the market getting smaller and smaller. So the big restaurant, they used to serve crab at 1.2 kg, right? So it's big crab. But now they go down to only 800 grams.
Why is that?
Because there isn't enough. Because they over-harvested.
Okay.
Now, you do know about the soft-shell crabs.
Yeah.
Okay? So why we eat soft-shell crab is reason is because the crab too small to eat. So what they do is, I will wait till it mold, take away the shell, then I eat the whole thing. So soft-shell crab, if it's not coming from farm, it's actually eating babies. So my personal view is not ethical. Because they're eating babies, not meant for food, because they don't have meat yet. But there isn't enough crab for human to consume, because people enjoy crab. So they even eat the small crab. So if the crab's small, okay, like there's some of this small crab, the shell is very hard. So you cannot eat. By the time you take away the shell, okay, there's very little meat inside, right? But if I wait till the hard shell is molded, I eat the whole thing. So that's why we have a soft shell crab.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I say we would like to, in a way, is see how can we able to produce the animals in a sustainable way, okay, ethical way, right? So that yes, we can enjoy the food, we have the food for our body, but at the same time not to damage the environment.
Right.
Because we actually exhausted the species from the wild.
So this facility was established how long ago?
Yeah, so this facility we established 3 years ago because then we realized that for Singapore to go into the food security, and the best protein source should be marine animals, not land animal. As mentioned earlier on, the land animals basically produce more gases, use more water, and not to mention they compete with human for the space, for the air as well. Right? That's why a lot of
And
farms...
Singapore has not much
No
space to share.
Exactly.
to
Even
start
in
with.
China, you can see the farm actually very far away from the city,
Right.
right? Because of the air pollution.
Right.
So they're so far away from the city. What happens is if the farm is so far away from the city, you don't get the workers because all the workforce are in the city. So as a result, a lot of farms in country, right, big country like India, China, even Bangladesh, Pakistan, they don't have enough workers. Even though there are a lot of workers, but they don't get workers for the farm. Right? All the people work in the city. So if I change to aquaculture, then the animals stay in the water. We have a good cleaning system for the water, so there's no pollution.
Yeah,
Right.
the smell is
No
manageable.
smell. Exactly. So I can eat and live with animals, but I cannot eat and live with a cow. I can't.
But this, of course, we're still at the experimental stage, right? What kind of volume, are we talking about? What kind of production would it, how long would it take to actually support?
Okay,
the need?
so now we are doing R&D, but we have completed the cycles already. We even have feed for them. Okay, so we can actually feed them with our own pellets. So the
Which
production
is also high tech, make it more nutritious.
exactly.
Right?
So you can change the nutrition value of the meat. I can put in a lot of the antioxidants so that the oil in the
make
crab
up
is
food,
good. Yeah, so that the crab, the livers will full of very good oil. So when you eat it, so it's good for the health. So we can change that nutrition composition of the animals by feeding them special diets. We can do that. And right now is we can actually produce a lot, not an issue. The issue is the space. Okay, so what we try to do at this moment is we want to grow up to a crablet of this size, okay, and then 1 to 2 cm size, and then we will repopulate the wild.
In the wild.
Put them back.
Where in Singapore?
So countries that produce crab, for example, Papua New Guinea, India, Sri Lanka, right?
Oh, so you're talking to the governments in these countries?
Well, we
Is it
haven't talked to the
possible?
government. We hope one day, once we have enough supply of the crablets,
Yeah.
it should be a policy for the country.
Yeah.
So I give you a license to harvest my animals, but you must be responsible to repopulate back my
Right.
animals here.
Okay.
You cannot just keep on harvesting. You have to put back.
Right. Yeah.
But right now is the licensee cannot do that because there's no supply of the crablets.
Right.
Even they want to do it, they can't do it.
Yeah.
So once we're able to do it successfully, that could produce millions of crablets every year, then we hope the governments of the country will change the policy that if you're going to take the crab from my country, can, but you must put the baby back. Yeah.
So the crablets, where are they coming from?
The crabbers come from the mothers. So what we do here is we are actually harvesting the eggs from the mothers. Okay, and then we will hatch them.
And you have the process over there, right?
Yeah.
Let's go take a look.
So the
But maybe before we walk all the way
All
there,
right.
what are these fish?
okay, these are male fish. Okay, so this tank is actually digestibility tank. So this is where we do the trial on the feed. So when you formulate the feed for the animals, you want to make sure do the feeds digested, absorbed
Right.
by the animals.
Yeah.
So we collect the feces. All the feces will come from here, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then we collect the feces. Then we measure the fecal material and see how much food been digested and absorbed. So we can create a feed that
Right.
is good for the animals.
So what do you use in the feed?
So basically, right now for the feeds, the usual traditional feed formulation, they use a lot of feed, the fish meal. So basically, they take the fish from the oceans and grind it up
Yeah.
and use it to feed the fish. We
Yeah.
call fish meal. But this again not sustainable, yeah, because the ocean fishes are getting lesser. So a lot of the companies are looking into the protein alternative. So they look at other source of protein for the fish. So we are looking into, let's say, insect protein, for example, bacterial protein, because they grow very rapidly, even algae protein, plant protein. Okay, so these are the developments currently in the industry that we want to grow food in a very sustainable way. Mustn't be keep on harvesting from the oceans and forget of the well-being of the ocean just for our immediate desire. So that's why all the R&D is going into looking into how you get the protein from a sustainable way and without compromising the quality of the fish.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, in the wild, we also have this problem of microplastics, right?
Yes.
So we read that a lot of the fish we consume
Yes.
contain microplastic. So is lab grown seafood can potentially solve that problem?
Yes. That's why I say for our system here is we are basically we don't discharge water. We recycle the water.
Okay.
Yeah, because in Singapore we just don't have enough water. So we
It's
recycle
salty
the
water?
These are salt water.
Salt water.
Salt water. And this is another reason why we use salt water because fresh water is meant for human consumption. So we shouldn't use fresh water for aquaculture. So we encourage people to use fresh seawater species,
Right.
right? Because we have oceans, plenty
Right.
of water there,
Right.
So don't take fresh water because we don't have enough for human anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we focus on the marine species, seawater species, so that we don't compete with human for the water. And then the water comes in, you have to treat the water. You have to treat the water, make sure it's okay. So one parameter in the future should, I think, look into the microplastic contaminations. So make sure your water is used for culture without heavy metals, without pathogens that killing the animals, without the certain chemicals, undesirable chemicals or antibiotics, including the bioplastic now. Okay, so that your water is completely good to culture the animals. But in the ocean, you cannot do that. Ocean you cannot control
Right,
because the oceans is naturally come to you. But in the intensive farming system on land and coast, we can actually ensure the quality of water supply.
You talked about using insects as feed. We actually went to visit an insect farm in Singapore. So the pupae, the larvae,
That's
is that
right.
the stuff that you
Yes.
can feed the fish?
Yes. So right now they're using the black social fly.
Yeah.
Okay, because but to me personally, I find that black social fly also quite issue because they are very, in a way, demanding. They want to eat good food. So you don't give them anything. They only eat human waste. So all the food waste from human, you give to them.
Yeah.
Okay, but to me that's high value. So if humans start to reduce the waste on the food they consume, then social fly will have no food to eat because they only eat human food waste. Right? Because they require very high energy content, that kind of nutrients. So right now, if you use black soldier flies to reduce food waste or recycle food waste, yes, that's good model.
Yeah.
But if you talk about long term, black soldier fly protein as a protein alternative for feeds to grow fish for the whole world of 9 billion population in 2050, I don't think it's a good model. It should go for a some insect that can eat anything.
I don't think that all the responsibility will fall on black soldier flies alone.
Agreed.
That we need to diversify.
That's right.
What do we have over there? We have 2 lines of aqua deck.
Yes. So we do have also ornamental fish as well. Yeah. And ornamental fish to me is very important because most of the R&D actually done with ornamental fish.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So you're doing R&D with ornamental fish.
exactly. Because due to the small size.
Yeah.
So you can have the number, okay, and you have the tank, smaller tank, everything much more cost effective to do research.
Right.
So once you're able to complete the research, and then you can translate to food fish, which require big tank.
So
Right.
what kind of tests are you doing for this batch, for example?
Well, depends on the customer because our center is to serving the industry. So every company come in with their certain demand. So our center is not a pure R&D center.
Oh, so
It's actually
you
innovation
have
center to
clients
support the
to
industry.
solve problems.
Exactly. All these projects are industry projects.
Okay.
So they come to us and say, look, I got this, can you help me solve this problem?
Right.
That's why we are helping solve all the problem in a way. So it's a research for the industry. Yeah. So that's why we encourage ornamental fish research because that will allow us to get a lot of the knowledge. From there we can translate to big tank, big fish like this. Yeah.
What are the big problems that are being raised from the industry players?
The issue right now is most of the farmer face is the price of the goods sold, especially in Singapore. So Singapore,
The price of what?
the fish they sell.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because Singapore, the land price is higher,
Yeah.
the cost of everything is higher compared to neighboring country. So as a result, a lot of farmers, when they produce the animals, the fish, they cannot compete with import. Yeah, like for example from Malaysia or from Indonesia, they cannot compete. As a result, they just cannot make money. But to sell more expensively, nobody will buy. That's why part of our education is to tell the local consumer that is for the security reason. This is about food security. We have to make sure the farmer can make a living. Because if our local farms all close down, there's no security. Am I right? So likewise for any country, we must have basic minimum productions of certain food. So you have to subsidize them somehow so that they can maintain their life and produce the food for you in case when there's a crisis, you have local productions. That's very important.
Right.
So to also play the part, that's don't always look at the price point. You should look at where this fish come from. It's come from your own country.
Yeah.
Pay a little bit more because this farmer need to live. And then if they're able to survive, crawfish, they call freshwater lobster, things like that. So again, these are all industry projects. And why this is interesting is because in this part of the world, we grow a lot of paddy, rice, paddy, right? So paddy fields always with water.
Yeah.
So they can actually have paddy, growing rice, and the lobster at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. So this one, paddy's 3-4 months you harvest. This one also 3-4 months harvest. About the right time, you harvest them at the same time.
Crayfish is a big delicacy in China. In Southeast Asia,
Yes.
seems like it's not here yet.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. In China, the crayfish are smaller.
Yes, it's smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this
is
is-
it the same species?
No,
or
these are big ones. These are called freshwater lobster.
Oh, okay.
So they can grow this big.
Okay.
It's huge. Okay. So this is a better delicacy in that sense.
Okay.
And the size is just right. Because
Right.
in modern day, you serve one plate, one animal.
Ah.
It looks presentable.
Right.
That sense.
So who knows? Maybe your next xiaolongjia is gonna come from Southeast Asia in the lab.
Yes. Yeah. So the more crayfish. So we have crabs brooders. We call brood stock that is producing eggs over the other side.
Okay. Yeah. You
You have a look
show
at
us.
it?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
sure.
You can go around there. Also.
So this is a picture to show, you see the crabs when the eggs carry outside. The mothers, they all carry outside. So they will lay the eggs, and these are all the babies when they hatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And,
every time they lay egg, how many do they usually
a
have?
lot,
A lot.
thousands of those. Yeah.
That's the roll. That's the most
Yes.
delicious part.
Right. So here you have this mother, okay? It's about to lay eggs. So it's on the sandbox already. right? So it's right on the sandbox, and she will lay eggs. So what we do is usually we keep the animals, they spawn for 3-4 times, and then we stop. Yeah, because it's too exhaustive, not healthy for the animals. So we don't reproduce them for too many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
how often do they lay eggs?
the lay eggs, usually they once they start, you can induce them to lay. It's not too difficult, but we want to make sure they are strong enough. Yeah, because they use a lot of energy
Right.
in a way. Yeah, we want to have a quality eggs coming from them. So we do the breeding, everything here as well. So we do genetic selections, and then we try to select the seed. We call that the eggs, or core seed, at the seed stage. That is the egg stage. So we don't want to wait till it's big, then we select. So using the scientific method to select the eggs that has high metabolic rate. So presumably they will grow faster when they hatch. Yeah. So pre-selection.
winners.
They are winners because they high metabolic. So
Right.
they have the genetic to grow. Right. So based on that, we select. Yeah.
So you will painfully go through the eggs in the sandbox?
No. Once the eggs is laid, we will harvest it. Then because we have to take care of the babies, because when they hatch, they eat each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we give them live feed. You know. So very important when they hatch, you have to give them a lot of live feed for them to eat. You see, the nature is like this. Nature, they produce a lot of eggs. Okay. Why they produce so much is because the eggs is meant for food for the sibling.
Oh.
Whoever hatch first eat the brother sister. You know, whoever born first, bigger. So we eat the small one. That's why they have so much eggs. The whole purpose is most of them actually is a food for the one that hatch first. Okay, so that's why the nature has balance. Balance that one female produces thousands and thousands of the eggs. When they all hatch, okay, only few survive. The rest are just feed for the few strong one. That's the nature of maintaining the so-called the balance. Now we human comes in, we eat the mother. Right? So when we eat the mother, then the existing mother cannot produce enough to maintain the balance. That's why it gets smaller and smaller. There isn't big crab out there anymore. Right? So that's why we need to use scientific way of producing a lot of babies without using many mothers. Right? That's why once they hatch, we have to quickly take care of the babies. Make sure we give them a lot of live feed. So when they bump into the animal in front, it's not their own brother sister, but it's live feed. So they eat others, but not eating their own brother and sister in a way. Yeah. So that's why the culture of the crab is how to minimize cannibalism. Make sure they don't eat each other because they are designed to eat each other. They are. Right? So if we can solve that problem, then you don't need a lot of mothers. You don't need, because if every baby survives, you just need a few mothers already. Right? Then you have millions and millions of babies already. So that's why I say, when you go to productions, you must understand the science. Once you understand science, you must understand the nature. How the nature is created in the first place. How the animals survive over millions of years. This is the whole situation. If you try to change that, you have to understand that. If not, it causes imbalance. So human cause imbalance right now in the food chain by overeating. That is a problem. Yeah.
Going back to what we were talking about in terms of Singapore food security, we see a lot of more and more urban farms in Singapore. We saw a lot of vertical gardens, aquaculture. You think that's the way going forward for Singapore?
I don't think we have other ways. That's the only way.
But what about some critics say like, I want my food to be natural, you know, I'm not sure I want to eat something that's grown out of a lab or...
Well, you see, moving forward, we most probably not even grow animals anymore. We culture the cells. You know, you saw the
the meatless meat,
exactly,
the shop to seafood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the next way. We call it cellular agriculture.
Yeah.
So we're moving away from farming. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, there's some people who are still like not sure. I'm part of them. I'm not sure I want to eat the meatless meat.
Well,
I mean, what is
right now you say so, but maybe 5 years down the road it's okay. Am I getting it? Because right now it's at the infancy of any technology development. Right. So eventually it will become a norm. Right. Before that, who eat eggs powder? For example, now the eggs are actually powder. You buy the powder and just mix it. So they don't sell you the fresh egg anymore. They actually make powder. Okay, longer shelf life, right? So you can actually buy egg powders. You know, the baker shop, when they bake the bread, they don't use fresh egg. They use powder.
Okay.
Right? Same thing. So if you're using powder, you don't see the eggs anymore. It's only albumin you are using. So I can use the cell culture system to ferment and produce the albumin. Same thing. Right? It's a powder. Right? So that's why it's moving. So right now, why is it holding us back? It's because of the cost. Yeah?
Yes.
And it's reasonable because any new development, technology cost is always very high.
Right.
Right? But eventually it will drop. So if you look at the clean meats, the cellular agriculture, a few years ago, to produce 1 kg of the meat using cell culture is about what? $2 million per kg? But
$2
now,
million?
yes, US dollars per kg. But now, you know how much is it? The cost they calculated, it's only $11. It's only a few years. It dropped so much. So very soon it will become $1. So if the meat is $1, why not? It's a protein, right? At the end, when you eat, it digests into amino acids. It doesn't matter how it looks like. It's the amino acid you want. Amino acid comes with protein. So same thing, right? So that's a future food.
Right.
It's moving forward. You see. So I can see that the agriculture is shifting. Okay, right now we are solving this problem.
Yeah.
Okay, but very soon, if we have a cellular agriculture comes in, we don't have to touch the animals. Leave them be. Right? Grow your own food. Yeah, that's what we see from scientific points of view, that the industry should evolve towards that. Of course, some will still people want to eat wild caught animals, whatever it is. It's fine. Right? That is like this personal preference. But from scientists' point of view, we look at sustainability. Right? We want to save the world as well. Okay?
Right.
With global warming and overpopulated Earth. So something needs to be done by scientists.
One last question about how do you control the health of these lab-grown animals? Like, because we hear about, like, for example, crabs in China. Some people are concerned about overfeeding antibiotics because they grow in a small, cramped environment. In this environment, how do we control? How do we control the chemicals?
Well, you see, for animals, they don't have medications, right? They don't take drugs.
Yeah.
Naturally, animals don't take drugs.
Right.
So why they are healthy? They're healthy because they eat properly. So if you feed the animal properly, they don't get sick. That's a fundamental. Okay? So if you don't feed them properly, you give them junk, give them nonsense, of course they get sick. Then you put in antibiotics to protect them against the bacteria because they're too weak to fight on its own. So they need help. Right? But if you give them good nutrition, they have their own immunity to defend themselves because these animals are already millions of years old. They through evolution can survive in the oceans, in the mud, right? So they don't need help. They just need to have proper food. So if you're going to farm them, you have to give them proper feeds. If not, they don't have that kind of natural immunity to fight against the infections. So again, for the non-so-ethical businessman, okay, they say, I want to cut costs on the feed because feed is a major cost in productions. Okay, 50 to 60% cost. So to cut that cost, you give them lousy thing you really don't want it, but you give to them. Hopefully, animal can survive. Then animal gets sick. Then you buy chemicals, it's cheap. Antibiotics is very cheap. Just pour. Okay, so at the end, they themselves don't eat. You eat because they know what they could eat. You see, yeah. So this is not ethical way of farming. So we always believe if you really want to give properly, please respect the animals. Feed them properly as well. They will give back to you. Right? Yeah, but cannot be always look at the cost, cut costs, maximum profits. Then again, not sustainable.
Right.
So somehow I think this should be the job of the government's policy thing, which is sometimes also very difficult. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm supposed to solve this problem.
There are
so,
too many shareholders.
Exactly, too many shareholders.
Yeah.
But I do believe if the company able to do the thing properly, eventually people will know. It's a branding that's very critical. Right? You go for long term, not short term. Long term gets a branding. So you may lose some now because of course it's higher because you do it properly, but eventually they'll come back to you.
Yeah. As you said earlier, eventually the customers are voting with their dollar, with their wallet.
Exactly. So we know when the blockchain technology comes in, traceability become a reality. That's it. That will address some of these issues.
Blockchain is another important technology to trace food safety. Right?
That's right. That's why I'm not too worried about all these things because technology will come up, okay, and will help us address some of these issues. Right? That's why waiting for blockchains to able to popularize. Okay, so right on the traceability platform, that's it. I know what you do to the animals.
So, what's the vision like a short-term goal or mid-term goal for the innovation center here?
For us, this innovation center, okay, we would like to collaborate with any center all over the world. So even though we are serving the industry, but Singapore model is like this. We always look out, you see. So we see countries as friends, as partners. We don't see them as enemy or competitors because we're such a small country. We cannot compete anyway. So we want to be a partner.
This philosophy goes all the way from geopolitical to environmental to everything, isn't it?
So likewise for our center, we also start with that kind of footing that we want to partner with any center in the world. Let's share the knowledge. Okay, using education as the diplomacy, from bond, from friendship between countries. You see? So we have projects all the way to India, we have projects to many countries as well. Okay, so we have the knowledge we like to share, and by sharing we learn in a way. You see, because the world is such a big market, we were never able to serve the whole world population anyway. So there's no competition, honestly. We can't even serve our own local consumption. What is the competition with other countries? Nothing. We can't even achieve 30% of consumption in Singapore, right? So what you talk about world market for what? No need.
Yeah. So are you confident in Singapore's food security future?
I'm the optimistic type of person. I believe we must have a hope. Okay, if I come in and say very pessimistic, you see, I already went off myself. Say now I don't believe in it, so I won't do, right? So, but if I'm optimistic, I say yeah, why not? Let's try. If I miss 30, at least I get 25, right? If I say cannot, right away become 10. You won't move, right? So I always think yes, stretch target, stretch goal is okay, but we believe can be done. The key is if everybody believes in it, okay, for the better world, not just for our own country, for the better world and for the better next generations, I think we should contribute in our own way. Scientists should contribute scientifically. Okay, consumers should eat wisely. Okay, use your money power to drive certain behavior. Okay, and farmer, please make decent money decently. There's always try to don't make too much indecently. Just decent amount and decently, and that will be the better world for everybody.
Well, that's great. Is there anything else you want to add? I think that was a great note to
I know China is quite advanced in aquaculture, so we hope we have the opportunity to learn and share, and have more collaborations with China.
Excellent. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So on that note, we will wrap today's live streaming, and we were just talking to the director of Singapore Aquaculture Innovation Centre, Dr. Chee Wee. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye for now.
Bye.